I mean, yeah. If you want to go for it, man, it's great already. I'm thrilled. All right, come on. I'm hitting the go live button.
Excellent.
We're live. It looks like we've got an hour to go. What's all that? No, have no idea. No. YouTube's complicated. Yep, that's us. We're live. So, good afternoon. I will gladly hand over the intro to yourself.
Oh, welcome, guys. I hope you got something good in your cup. I know I certainly have. Well, it's that time again. We are 47 hours after Cardano 360, so it's time to get drunk and talk about everything that happened in the last month. Get a little bit more candid, drunken blabbering about everything, not just get stuck in the echo chamber that we all love from this network that we all believe in. So welcome. Lee Temnall, your favorite coffee cup, as you can see. Alex. Wait, am I on this right side for you, or am I gesturing in the wrong direction?
No.
I'm
gesturing in the wrong direction. No. Yeah, you're on the right side. It's actually worked out. Hooray.
Alex from NASEC. So,
hey, everyone.
Yeah, welcome
That's strong
to
Scotch.
our humble abode. Welcome to our humble abode. I hope you got something good in your cup. I think we should just jump into it. Today is going to be pretty easy for us because the last Cardano 360 was not really
non-event
directed. Yeah, non-event. It's very interesting though, but basically the bulk of the matter was they invited developers and projects to make short videos talking about what it is that they're building, what sets them apart. So that's going to fit perfectly for us because, well, if you want to get drunk, then the idea of following a rigid structure certainly does go against the curve.
Far too difficult. Can't deal with that.
Yes.
So first note I've got on this month is the PAB is in testnet. I mean, that is great news because for all the nonsense of, oh, we've got smart contracts, and Charles recently just went and said, guys, space buds, of course we're smart contract ready. I don't know anyone using them yet. I still certainly haven't used a smart contract in mainnet yet. What about you?
I absolutely have not.
Oh wow, we've done such a good launch.
Can you explain what the PAB is here for all the idiots like myself who might be tuning in?
The PAB is difficult to explain because until you've interacted with it, I think it's going to be difficult to comprehend. But essentially, what Cardano's done is they've moved as much of the processing off the blockchain as possible. And the PAB is that off-chain processing. Now, why have they done that? Because CPU time is expensive and you want smart contracts to be as cheap as possible. So as much processing as possible is done off-chain on your own computer, and then the results sent back to the blockchain, and the on-chain code verifies what you have done off-chain, essentially. So the on-chain code is not so much of the heavy lifting, it's more the verification of what you've done. Now, that's what I understand the PAB to be. I am prepared to be wrong about that in the future, today, whenever, because I haven't interacted with it at all as yet. Have you touched on it at all yourself, Noel?
I have not.
Not
yet. No, I've been postponing it because it does seem like everything is very much bleeding edge.
Oh, absolutely.
Different irons in the fire right now. That
it's literally alpha at the moment, I think, or it exists on testnet, which is amazing news, because without the PAB, as I understand it, without that bulk of the processing, we don't actually really have smart contracts. We've got the ability to validate, and a lot of clever people are doing some clever stuff with the on-chain code. But the truth is, that's the heavy lifting. So we need that PAB sorted, out there, deployed, so that people can build their dexes and their whatever else we're building on Cardano.
This is one of the main selling points for Cardano to begin with, right? If you compare with something like Ethereum, Ethereum handles the logic on chain, right?
As I understand it, yes. I think all of their code is processed on chain, but I'm no Ethereum expert. I'll just prep.
And of course there are layer 2 solutions and many things that are like seeking to reduce this, but that's I mean, we're obviously not really supporters of that. Like typically the more components you add in, the worse things turns out.
Absolutely.
In the longer run.
It's that beautiful
look
picture.
At any other tech things,
Yeah, exactly. It's that beautiful picture of the spoon of science a fork balanced on a glass, and it's like science versus engineering. Engineering's where you just get duct tape and just strap it to it, and science is it's balanced perfectly in equilibrium and it looks like magic. We're more a fan, I hope, of that science style of building.
Yeah, definitely. And it's nice to hear everything's running fine on testnet, because to the uninitiated, all testnets are not equal. Just like all mainnets aren't equal. And with what Cardano has set up with the hard fork combinator and their glorious CI/CD of rolling these massive changes out, as soon as something is on testnet, it is basically already over the finish line.
Yeah,
it's only a matter of time.
I think Alonso taught us that. I mean, I was prepared for 6 months worth of testnet and God knows what else. And by the time we'd reached purple, it was sort of announced we were going to purple at the same time that we were announced we were going to mainnet almost. And they got rid of like red and black and dark purple and God knows what else. And they were just like, no, we're ready. Let's go. So for all the slowness that Cardano brings with it, it does have that, element of just, we're practically at the finish line because we're writing this in Haskell, because of the way that we're writing this with test procedures, etc. That's all programmatic. We're basically guaranteed we're there. It's the end of the road almost before.
Oh yeah. Well, we're taking the locomotive approach here. Cardano is trying to build an all-encompassing solution.
That's it, and the momentum just doesn't stop.
Yeah, and that's why it takes like a long time at the beginning. You look at the internet, you didn't have protocol standards and anything in place in the beginning there. It was a huge hot mess.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back and looking at the Wayback Machine or just old websites, it's amazing.
Yeah. But going back to like what were the things that were brought up in 360? There were a lot of the projects that we've all probably heard about multiple times before, giving us a little bit of insight to what they think is making them special. We got, Ardana, stablecoin platform, Liquid, Sunday, and I had to actually stop and pause when Occam came up again.
Oh, really?
Yes, because everybody else used this like as the opportunity of talking about Maladex is special because of its special approach or careful approach to impermanent loss and believing it has unique technical solutions, and Ardana has this special decentralized stablecoin platform, for lack of a better word, because I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. And then you get to Arkham5. And Arkham5 is like, we got special ties with, like the OGs in IOHK.
Yeah.
And like, okay, so what?
I know. It was a very name droppy segment, wasn't it? It was like, we work with them. We're cool.
I was speaking with Bullish Humbling the other day as well, and like trying to with the benefit of the doubt, like trying to understand these things. Like, okay, so Arkham, so why should people give a shit? Like, what is it that they're trying to do? Well, they're trying to make this Launchpad ecosystem, like, and build more from that. So, okay, so you buy their token, and when you hold that token, that works as an access that gives you permission to buy a capped amount of allocation when there's new projects that are launching. Like,
That's
okay,
it.
okay,
Something along those lines.
okay. So what projects are launching there? Because if you have a really, if I have a really good project, why would I want to launch it on Arkham?
So didn't they mention that they've got an $8 million... Am I mixing this with anything? They've got an $8 million round of funding themselves? Something along those lines?
I don't remember the number, but they have gotten some funding. I think that they've got funded through one of the VC funds IOG is involved in.
Yes.
Out of why they're in bed together. And like, I was about to say, don't get me wrong. I hope that they are successful, but like so far, I still don't understand the real use case in it, because I figure anybody with a successful project, you want to do a launch, you want to do an IDO or something like that. All right. First question is, why would you want to limit yourself to Archify? What do you get out of that?
There's got to be some benefit. Otherwise, you wouldn't.
You would want to launch this on the platform where you can reach the most people, whether that is singular or in plurality. And you don't need a special launch platform, to my knowledge, really, to do something like this. All you really need is the IDO and some marketing around it. I mean, maybe you can add some stuff on top of that.
Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, technically, you could do that on any DEX, right? You just need to have your IDO, initial DEX offering, and then where you want to put it up. So I, as a project owner, I would want to do that on Arkham. If Arkham stood out as being a fantastically great platform to do it on, or if nobody else wants to play with me.
Yes.
All right. But so now if we look back at the customer's perspective, so why would Alex want to buy IDOs on Arkham 5? If these are projects that just can't get a chance on any other DEX, then they're absolute hot fucking garbage. This is not hard to get in on a DEX. Everybody wants to make money from you having a successful IDO.
Yeah. ICO,
and
I guess.
And if they are trying to make like an exclusive thing there, what is that indicative of?
I'm
thinking. Why would the project be doing that?
So I've got an idea. I don't know if it's true or not, but you and I both live in the tech world. So in my head, Y Combinator screams as like the place to go and get your initial $100,000 of venture capital. They take like 10% of your company and they'll give you $100,000. And they do that to a lot of companies. And the reason you go to Y Combinator is because basically of their name. You go to them for the brand, for being a Y Combinator startup. It carries with it some level of like, oh, these guys are like serious. Someone serious in the industry has vetted these guys.
I get that. You're getting the prestige of, oh, they're the one that did
Airbnb,
and oh, they're the one that did this, and so
maybe that's it.
Well, I've considered that, but I still don't get it, because if that's the strategy, then they're putting the cart before the horse. Because where's their Airbnb? Where's their Uber? Or like, where's the reason that Arkham is the respectable one?
I guess.
Right, as it looks right now, and what I've heard, unsubstantiated accusations, what I've heard so far is that they don't do any vetting or any noticeable vetting, that they're just getting people in. There's even accusations that they are out trying to seduce projects to specifically come in and be there on Arkham. In other words, it doesn't really look like they're offering any value.
I mean, that's normal in venture capital. Everyone goes and chases the latest Facebook. That's normal. But you make a damn good point, and I don't know why I'm defending Arkham. I don't know. I have no horse in this race, but I don't know either. Is the honest truth.
It's a steelman, and again, a lot of this is conjecture and speculations. And I hope that they're successful. The more platforms, the more DEXs we can have that work well, the better. I'm trying to steelman them. I'm trying to understand why this is not a hot pile of garbage. So far, I'm failing at that. So it's either that it really is hot garbage, or it's that their marketing is fucking atrocious. I don't really see any other options, because if they're not explaining it to me, but they do have a solution,
Yeah.
then they're fucking up.
I mean, every single Occam project might be the best project on Cardano.
Sorry, you lost me entirely.
I mean, that might be their selling point. Every single Occam project is the project that you want to be investing in. Maybe that's their selling point. I have no idea. Their marketing has yet to reach my ears as well.
Right. But if that's the case, then you would expect for them to give them some rigorous form of vetting, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So like the value that they're providing is that, oh, you can trust that every single launch that goes through our platform meets this certain set of standards. So the probability of this being,
yes, exactly, the probability. That's where I was going. Like, you know, instead of normal VC where you buy a coin and 99% chance it's going to die, you've only got 80% chance it's going to die. Use Occam. I have no idea. If they're just struggling to even get people on their platform and they're going around to everyone asking, fuck knows.
To me, I just see a lot of red of flags that looks very red when it comes to, oh, you want me to buy atrocious amounts of your Disney bucks to give me some cap level of allocation reservations, and why? I don't get that, because it's not technically hard to do an IDO on any other platform. So it seems like they're trying to sell the hide before they shot the bear.
Perhaps. I have no answer for you. This is the problem. I mean, realistically, either these projects need better marketing teams, or it's...
And Occam, if anybody listens in, or anybody who's like in Occam to speak with them, please go back and look at the 360 and just look over your own talking points. If you're feeling like, oh, how can't they get it? Just look at what it is that you're putting out, because it's fucking horrible. You're not, if you actually have substantial points, you're not getting it across. And if you have them, we want to hear them.
Absolutely.
So I want to give you my money, but I'm not going to give it without a reason.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, at the end of the day, we've got a lot of choices. Look at how many projects there were, and they're all doing the same damn thing. It's either a DEX or a NFT marketplace, because that's the only thing anyone's ever come up with so far.
Yeah.
And that's the truth of the matter.
You know what might be a cool idea?
Go on.
I don't know, I just thought of it. Just design some form of DEX IDO launchpad platform, and then create a UI front end that's like Tinder or something like that.
I love that.
You just
swipe
with just micro projects.
I love this so much.
No.
And what? Each swipe right is like 10 ADAs worth of pledge or something.
Oh, that'll be up to like, what are they asking for? What are they offering back? Or it might also be that like you're not paying anything immediately, but it could be like, yeah, I'd want to talk further with them to figure out if it's more like maybe serious investment time.
I love
Let's
this
say that
so
you'll actually
much.
be looking at, all right, I want to put 10,000 ADA into like a project. I mean, like have some sort of Tinder platform where you can figure out
peer-to-peer
who are the projects you would want to speak with.
Yeah, so what do you call it? It's like peer-to-peer venture capital for crypto. Oh, I love this idea so much. This is like the best idea I've heard of all year so far. Oh, that is amazing.
Actually, I think that platform could work for many ways. It could work fairly well for like a LinkedIn type platform as well. Like finding companies and employees that have
Jesus, let's just apply Tinder to everything. Why hasn't anyone thought of this? This is genius. Right, forget
the Tinderverse.
We don't need Cardano, we need the Tinderverse. That's what we need. Okay, we've definitely diverted. Let me pull us back round a little. Is there anyone other than Occam you want to pick on, play with, talk about their projects? Because
no, I'll leave them battered and bruising in the corner for now. I don't have any personal against anything of them. I don't even really remember the names of them. There's a couple. I'm biased myself for my own values and
Go on.
priorities.
Who do you want to shill?
I'm getting. Well,
who are you shilling and why?
I was gonna batter another one as well, which would be saying that I'm getting sort of the same vibes from Sunday Swap as I'm getting from Occam, but not nearly as bad. In that, like, Sunday's doing a great job of the marketing.
Yes, love Sunday Swap's marketing. I'll love any cute little emoji things. Damn, that sells it for me.
Oh, absolutely. And it is not even joking. Like, it's not to be undervalued at all. But I was having a conversation the other day where I said, do you know what? I wish Maladex and Sunday Swap would just merge, because Maladex seems horrible at their marketing, but they have some really, really interesting technical solutions, propositions. Sunday looks amazing at the marketing point of it, but if they have anything interesting technical, they're not really doing anything to show it. They wrote the reports out to show how they're handling concurrency issues and stuff like that, which is like that's great, that's fine. But like, to me, that's just showing me, all right, you're not idiots. You actually know what you're doing. They haven't like brought out, oh, here's Principia. We wrote this over the last 3 months and we're going to rebuild everything in LOL code or anything significant. It would be really awesome if we could see like a merger between something like Sunday and Maladex, because they would complement each other's weaknesses and strengths pretty well. What do you think about that?
So I kind of want to take it a slightly different direction.
Right.
Sunday Swap interested me because they came out and made a confession. They came out and made a confession of who they are contracting to build their stuff. And this was a theme throughout like the whole of 360 this month. Who are M Labs and where the fuck did they come from? But holy shit, they now run Cardano. They're working with IOG. They're working with Sunday Swap. They're working with a bunch of other people. And they've got like 70 Haskell developers building for Cardano. It sounds like they're the next well-typed to... So well-typed to the... For anyone who aren't aware, they're the people who are currently building the Cardano node, the actual Cardano node, the thing that we are all here for, essentially. But MLabs is bigger, like really big. Now, maybe they don't have quite the thoroughbred nature of well-typed, who are literally building and improving Haskell, the language, but MLabs came out of nowhere this month and blew me away. Like, I was Googling these people. Apparently they are contracted by Sunday Swap, IOG, and just about everyone else that you can think of in the space. And their developers are the people who are building the entire, like, they're working with IOG to help with the PAB, as I understood it. They're working with Sunday Swap to build their exchange. Like, I don't know who these people were, but this month, that's all anyone could talk about. They were in almost every segment mentioned, and that was fascinating. I was like, who are these M Labs? And I like it. Like, apparently anyone using them, that's the way to go, because these developers know what they're doing. They're involved in Ethereum, they're involved in Cardano, they're involved in Solana, I think.
And Polkadot.
And Polkadot. Damn it. I think I meant Polkadot rather than Solana.
No, it's Polkadot, Solana, and Cardano.
That's it. My apologies. But that's quite the company. And 70 developers. Holy crap. Like, that's a substantial consultancy.
I'm looking at their little wall of partnerships here. I don't recognize all the names, but I recognize quite a few. Got IOG. We got Liquid, Cardstarter, Adana.
As well, yeah.
Yeah, Cardano Foundation. Although that's kind of a non-starter, because what are they doing? So I don't know these other one. JustPay, Composable, Tillit, CentaurFi, Giro Wallet. I've seen that. Playermint, Bibliotheca. supersede Westfall and Wind. Don't know all of these, but
No,
there's some really big
nor
places
do I.
there.
But you know, for a company to have 70 Haskell developers as consultants, you know, these aren't going to. This is not going to be a company that is backed by venture capital, etc. This is a services company. This is a company that's not going to scale infinitely. This is a company that is literally employing people based on the demand for their services. Now, to have 70 developers in the crypto space, and that's where they're focused.
That's enormous.
That is huge. That is a massive, great firm. Like, okay.
If you have 70 developers,
company, and they, you know, in the team that I work on in a large project, a very, very big project, we're looking at sort of 5 developers and then other engineers. But that is a huge number of developers, I think.
If it is actual developers, if they have 70 Haskell developers, making a crude comparison to like a regular tech company, I would say if you have 70 developers, that company is probably give or take 500 people total.
Yeah, something along those lines. It's a big company, you know. It's really substantial, and I love that. This MLabs company is something I'm going to keep my eyes on.
It's interesting and scary at the same time. It's a centralization of a lot of the utility, which gives us a lot of efficiency. It will ensure, like, they're helping building the backbones for Liquid, for SunderSwap, for we don't know to what extent, or with IOG, then that means that you're going to be able to get much further, much faster. But you're also putting all of your eggs in that one basket as well.
Certainly.
You're really hoping that the solution that they're coming up with is going to be not necessarily the best, but good enough.
Yeah.
I think all in all is really great. I mean, we are literally on an infrastructure, a system, a network where if anybody has a better idea comes along, then there won't be anything directly stopping us for it. Granted, it can be really difficult to convince people that a standard is superior when another one is established because inertia and laziness. But I think all in all, scary, but good.
I mean, yeah, I think if we pay attention to the growth of a company like that, that's going to be very telling to crypto as a whole. You know, if they start shrinking down, that means development in crypto is shrinking. It's sort of a bellwether, as people like to refer to in the stock market for things like, you know, generic growth. I think that's a bellwether for the crypto market, which is interesting to me. I don't know how much it matters.
Can you expand on that? It might not be obvious to the audience. We have to remember they're probably all idiots. We hate our audience.
We hate everyone. A bellwether, for example, they say that in America, a bellwether is the delivery service. I think FedEx or one of the other giant delivery services over there. And essentially what that means is like how many packages are getting sent because how many people are buying random shit that they can ship to their door. And, you know, if they're shipping more packages, the economy is doing good. If they're shipping fewer packages, people aren't buying as much stuff. Well, the way I see it, crypto as a whole, if it's got more developers being contracted in, paid real money, fiat money, I know people think that crypto is the real money. I don't know. But if they're growing as a company, that means people are prepared to pay fiat dollars, fiat pounds, fiat whatever, to grow that ecosystem. And the
something that can be traded for food and rent.
Exactly. And the bigger they get, the more that crypto actually means something, because it means that more people have got more money to invest in crypto and they're choosing to spend it that way. Because a consultant can be gone within a week. That's my opinion.
Absolutely. I think that's a good segue then into talking about, I know we don't really care much about market prices, but I think it's a good idea to address, considering we have a some very heavy flow these days. Much red.
Thrilled.
Oh, me too. I can buy more ADA now.
I know, right? I might actually get a pledge that is meaningful. And
speaking of
knows what
bellwether,
that's going to be. Sorry, go on.
Speaking of bellwether indications here, I was looking at the on-chain stats.
Yes.
Of the transaction. So
yes.
Both in volume, but more interestingly in the amount of how much live traffic usage is on the network. And we're higher than ever.
I know.
The traffic has just exploded.
Well, if I may, I think it's Epoch 304. Over 70% of transactions so far are over 50% full. Over 70%. And we haven't really honestly got smart contracts yet.
We haven't got DeFi, which is usually what really rakes up these insane transaction quantities.
Exactly.
This is basically, as far as I can tell, non-smart contract NFT trading.
Exactly.
That is at that level.
So let's just go into this, because this is such a fascinating point. I mean, it kind of leads into the 360 in some ways because of that 5-second budget they were discussing early on, where we're choosing to increase the block size by 12.5%. Oh, I've got so much to say on this one. So we're increasing block size by 12.5%. We're increasing Pluto-script size or memory size rather by 12.5%. So we're trying to increase the amount of throughput that Cardano can achieve. And that's a really interesting thing.
Before Hydra.
Before Hydra, yes. This is before we go and have simultaneous parallel chains running. So that's interesting in that we're trying to grow it that way. But also what I've noticed and heard from some other SPOs is that there are a lot of people out there right now, because so I run a YouTube channel and a crypto, and I've said out there to everyone publicly, if you're an SPO and you want some assistance, come to me. I will do my best to assist. I've turned one person down so far, but we won't go into that. Everyone else who has come to me recently, there has been a flood of SPOs missing blocks. Now, I'm not going to name names. It's not their fault potentially. These are individuals who are running their pools correctly to the correct spec, but there are people missing blocks out there.
Wait. I need to nitpick you on something here. You're saying not their fault. Do you mean because they're following
the minimum requirements of the documentation? Yes.
Yeah, okay. So you mean it's not their fault as in what the guidance told them is not proving to be sufficient, but it is absolutely their fault as in they are not good enough operators to ensure this doesn't happen on their own.
No, that's not fair, because we have no ability to block ahead of time. Well, we know that whether we've been selected to mint a block ahead of time, but we have no ability to know that we will successfully mint that block given the current state of our node. A failing by IOG, not a failing by the stake pool operators, in my opinion. But so what this brought me on to,
I mean,
sorry, go on.
The net's being a little bit wonky. I don't know if it's.
Oh no, it's mine. I just got an internet connection is unstable. I hope that's not going to be.
No, I got that too.
Ooh, let's hope that's not too much of a problem. So, do you want to pick up?
Yeah, sorry, where were we at?
So, basically...
Oh, yeah, no, I want to contest a little bit something on that, because IOG are, of course, still in a patriarchal situation where they are controlling these variables, and so you can expect for them to be giving clearer and better direction on many things. Mm-hmm. What I'm trying to drive at is that all SPOs aren't equal.
Too true.
And you can't expect that you just download your binaries and then you go find the documentation, and then you are expecting that you will be just as well equipped as somebody that has maybe a decade's experience running DevOps like operations, something like that.
I mean, we've jumped like 3 points here, but I couldn't agree more with you. This was going to be my next point. I love this.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And also, just like, your server is not equal to my server. My 16 gigabytes of RAM does not equal your 16 gigabytes of RAM, especially not when you're based in the cloud, especially not when you're running on Contabo, some desktop server level grade shit of a node or of a processor and of a stick of RAM. You don't have ECC compliant.
We have several pools that are proudly presenting that they're running on Raspberry Pis.
That's a question now, because officially, it's now official. The minimum recommended amount of RAM is 12 gigabytes for a Cardano node. There is no Raspberry Pi that operates on 12 gigabytes with 12 gigabytes of RAM.
Oh yeah. So, I've been on 16 since May, and by now I've even set it up to be able to dynamically scale if I start crossing certain threshold, because it's kind of a point of pride for me is that I never ever want to miss a block, and hopefully maybe at one point in time that will be also a valuable marketing point, because I fully expect that there will be staking pool metric sites available at some point where you're going to be able to track what pools have actually, like, how have they performed.
This is something I want to talk about as well. There's so much here to dig into.
I am not willing to let go of my perfect stellar record on NANI pool, go stake. So I have been over allocating the resources.
Absolutely. We're doing the same thing at NASEC. So what is fascinating me is that we don't have that right now, and people don't care so much right now. But I was one of the other SPOs that I talk to regularly, great SPO, shared with me their Prometheus statistics on connections. And I can see regularly, up and down, up and down, up and downs, you're seeing relays bouncing constantly. They're coming up and they're dropping. And that's a massive issue.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, the way that block propagation works on Cardano is that your connection out is not how you propagate a block. It's actually propagation via connections into your producer, or via your relays, let's say. So if your relays are dropping and people aren't reconnecting to your relays, your block production is zero, because that's how it works. Now, there's some serious issues with people, using cloud providers that are less than stellar in quality. And that's going to cause the masses of issue. And they were talking about this whole, you've got 5 seconds to propagate a block throughout the blockchain, otherwise you don't get adopted, and that's it, you've missed that block. Apparently they'd already used 2 seconds worth of that block production time.
What do you mean by that? You used 2 seconds?
Exactly. Now this is something that interested me. So if you look towards the part where they were discussing the 12.5% increase, it's just briefly mentioned that 2 seconds of this is consumed. Now, what I understood that to mean was that a block that is 100% full will take approximately 2 seconds worth of processing time. How are they measuring that processing time? Because my processor doesn't equal their processor. It's a very murky waters that it fascinates me so. But all this leads in to say that chain density at the moment is down. Chain density is around about 4.75%, meaning that essentially we're missing almost 8% of blocks on the Cardano chain.
Are they being missed though? As I understood it, if a block drops the ball on one of the if a pool drops the ball on one of the blocks, Are
No.
other pools not able to
They pick up the transactions in the
validation?
next block. They don't pick up that block. That block is gone for good.
Okay, so the
However,
rewards are lost.
yes.
Okay.
However, that doesn't mean that that we get the same number of blocks, or we should get the same number of blocks every epoch. As I understand it now, thanks to colleagues, friends, they're just been told that our stream is cutting out. That is frustrating. Thank you, Daniel. We'll address that next time. I don't know that we can now. But what we'll look to do is... darn. Where was I? My brain.
You were talking about the amount of blocks.
Yes.
In the
There is no guarantee to the number of blocks. It is random, and thus we do have variance such that this might be a normal amount of variance, or this might be a normal amount of blocks lost. It might not be anything new, but we do need to consider the fact that basically there are blocks being missed. It's certainly being reported, I would say, much more than normal. I'm used to people approaching me saying, I've missed a block. Can you help me diagnose X, Y, or Z? I'd say that 3 times the number of individuals that have approached me privately normally have approached me this epoch. So I'm somewhat concerned. But variance shows that we're pretty much within that sort of 10% of missed blocks, which is normal, give or take. So I don't know how to feel right now, but that 12.5% block size increase might be very meaningless if we're missing 10% of blocks in general, or 8% rather. It would only equate to a smaller 4.5% increase in throughput. And this is a concern going forwards.
Well, so I don't think the actual configuration change, us turning the knobs here, is going to be doing anything significant. I'm very happy, excited, bullish on the actual configuration change. So this is something that people are definitely taking for granted. So I want to highlight and really emphasize this. We are doing fundamental reconfiguration of our blockchain as easy as changing your house temperature, basically.
Oh, it's amazing. This would require hard fork elsewhere. This absolutely would.
This is part of the feature of being on Cardano. I do not think a 12.5% block increase is going to do diddly fucking squat, but I thought the change being made is because we are able to make changes so seamlessly here. And if it turns out that it's not worth it, if we find out that for some reason we had it right all along, we can change it back very, very, very easily.
That's it.
We're not breaking our network. We're not creating Cardano Cash and all other sorts of nonsense.
We definitely don't want Cardano Cash. Yeah. That would be a failure.
This is what I think Ethereum has gotten so horribly wrong. This is what so many of the failed fuck-up Silicon Valley companies have gotten so wrong, is that this is how you move fast and break things. By setting a system up that lets you be very agile in making your pivots. Because we have a system in place now where we can make a lot of really fundamental changes extremely casually.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Now we're in a place where we can move fast and break things.
Yes.
And figuring out exactly what we need.
So to take that a little further, we can change a key parameter, an absolutely vital key parameter such as block size. Let's just go with the simple part of that. And we can change that within an epoch. Now, or at the end of an epoch, let's say. So that is vital. Whereas the notion of someone like Ethereum trying to go and change that would require everyone to redeploy. It would require extreme diligence from their mining community to go and adopt that new chain. This is where I think the most undervalued thing in Cardano is the goddamn hard fork combinator.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably the most undervalued thing that has been invented. You know, proof of stake
it makes
is
sense
great.
that and it makes sense that people aren't valuing it. So I'm putting this on IOG partially. I guess I'm really putting this on Cardano Foundation because I was guessing that this is your job, right? This is your job to help people understand this. Because why would they? This is basically like saying this technical specific reason is why you have the greatest power generation company in like your local city.
Yeah.
Like, all right, well, great. I don't care. I just want to turn on my switch and then the light works, right?
That's it. Yeah.
People don't take this for granted and they don't understand like how it works. So you cannot assume that they will understand the value of what a hard combinator such as what we have with Mary is really worth.
There should literally just be a scorecard. Score 1 for the hard fork combinator. We've just changed this parameter. Would be required. A hard fork would be required on Ethereum. Score 2 for it.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't that just be incredible? So it's like, oh, well, it would have, to get Cardano to where it is today, if it were Ethereum, it would have taken a dozen hard forks. You know.
I'll do you one better.
Go for it.
It'll be just created as a site where every single time an event like that happens, a random name generator will create some sort of Cardano fork name and add that to this list. So if this would have been Ethereum or God knows what of the other attempts, Solana or whatever, then if this was Ethereum, we would have now have had Cardano Cash. Cardano
exactly.
Safe.
No, that's right. That's so true. I mean, realistically, it should be a Twitter bot with a city name after it.
Yeah.
It's like, today we're operating London. In 5 days, we're operating Paris. In 5 days, we're operating Morocco. I've just gone from cities to countries, but you get my point. It's insane how overlooked the hard fork combinator is. And it is allowing us to safely, slowly make vast changes like you described.
Not even slowly. I mean, we are slow because so far at least the ethos is measure thrice cut once. But even though some people might think that it's a slow change now that we're increasing the blockchain size width, but I mean this with love, but that's only because you're ignorant. Because can you point to, well, you can disprove that statement by just pointing to a place where you could do this quicker without risking limbs and liver and spine and all. Like you can't. Like we're able to do this at lightning speeds with security. That's like everybody else has to make that sacrifice. We don't, because we built the rock hard granite foundation. It's like do this from. You don't get to these kind of level of scalability by accident, by this like Silicon Valley accident approach. I've had similar discussions like this professionally in my own areas of infrastructure, where there's so many people get so fucking hard and throbbing, thinking that lean and agile is just the solution to everything. That's just we just gotta it's everything is just a communication and human resource issue. Anything can be done in any amount of time if you just figure out how to do things properly, right?
Oh wow, that's quite something. I mean, those are some brave individuals. They've truly adopted agile.
Yeah, so especially when you get a hold of like directors that are not super technical themselves, or they're not a subject matter expert on the thing that this is really about, and they're trying to feed these songs about how, well, if we're building a car, what we really just got to start with is, build the skateboard with the steering wheel, because then the customer can drive it. And then we can build the chassis on top of it. We can do back seats, we can put a trunk in, etc., etc. Like, deliver the most value the quickest. Like, yeah, okay, that makes perfect sense if you know what the car looks like.
Yeah.
But you can't give them a horse and then do incremental
and then swap them out for that
horse.
skateboard.
Yeah, and then think, oh, if we just keep improving our horse, it's gonna turn into a car. No, fuck you. It doesn't work like that. You need to have the design or the vision for the thing that you actually want to be driving at, pun intended, for you to be able to really get there. You cannot just piss your pants because you want to feel warm and think that that is going to be able to grow into something better, like long term.
I couldn't agree
Which,
more.
in my opinion, is, I love them for all the things that they've given in other areas, but that's the kind of mentality that the Ethereum network has.
That's it.
They're doing all of the short-term value improvements, which is generating a lot of great things. But what it is not creating a foundation that the future financial infrastructure is going to be relying on, because you don't get there by doing short-term piss-pan experimentation.
Nope. Couldn't agree more.
Well, preaching to the choir.
So let me move us along. We're trying to move along the 360 slowly, and I've kind of given up on the 360 for now. I've got 2 points, like with so many exclamation points after them. Muesli. Have you heard of the Muesli DEX? Apparently we've got...
No.
Okay, Muesli swap, sorry. So basically, I guess based on the whole Sunday swap escapade, they've launched a DEX. This is officially the first DEX that is actually usable on Cardano. Now, I haven't used it myself. Let me explain.
How do you spell muesli?
Museli, I believe.
Oh.
So
That's why I got it wrong.
No need to worry. No one's heard of these people. And so...
Oh, muesli. That's like granola.
Yes. No, but yes, I know what you mean. Yes, it's like the cereal. And so I was like, okay, that's interesting. Right, never heard of these people before. Tiny little team, minute team. I believe it's like 6 people from what we've seen. Everyone was freaking out. So my experience or interaction with it has been so far, I've read tweets by Cardano Whale. Don't know who Cardano Whale is. Couldn't say if they've got, bias in any which direction. But their initial tweets were like, oh, I certainly wouldn't trust this DEX. What the fuck? They've got a team which is like just animated, not animated, but like graphic art
saw that
things. And I was like, yeah, I agree with you, because I truly believe in putting my face to what I'm doing and saying, like, I will put my personal reputation on what I'm doing. Why is that? Because then when the next person comes along and says, well, you're that guy that does that thing, I'm like, yes, and I hold it to the standard that I hold it to, and I do my best, and that's who I am. But their developers have hidden behind these pseudo graphic portraits. And I was like, okay, yeah, maybe they are just a scam. And then later, Cardano Whale tweeted, oh, actually it works, but it's really crap. And I was like, well, hold on. That means they have launched the first DEX on Cardano then, successfully, if it works. And the Cardano Whale was like, oh, yeah, but you're just trading for crap tokens. Why do you want the crap tokens? And I was like, well,
wait, that seems to be missing the forest for all the trees.
Yeah, so that's the first DEX then. They win.
Yeah.
For all the advertising Sunday Swap and Maladex and Occam have done, these Muesli, whoever the fuck they are, they've just won the race. Good for them. Screw you.
Yeah.
Cardano Whale,
Cheers. Cheers to Muesli. That's cool.
Cheers to Muesli. I have no idea if you're all scammers, but you win. So they did publish their 160 lines worth of Haskell. I can't believe an entire DEX can be achieved in 160 lines, but...
Wait, Haskell or Plutus?
Haskell.
So, because we don't have the PAP yet.
Yeah, exactly. So, who knows? But truth be told, I don't. And yet, the same person that was criticizing them, saying this is a scam, then later said, oh, actually it works, but it's crap.
I haven't read this specific tweet, but knowing Cardano well, I would guess that he's not saying that it is a scam, but that these are red flags.
Absolutely, yeah. That's what he was saying. It's like, this is major red flags, yada yada. But then later said that it worked. So I was like, well, good for these people, Muesli. So we've actually got a DEX apparently on Cardano, despite not having any back end at all. It's just like front end validation. Who knows how the hell they've done that? But it's deserving of some recognition, and it's deserving of stating here, because if we're already at 70% of blocks, over 50% full, then we're in a really interesting space when DEXs start launching.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because right now when we don't have Hydra to help us scale out, the fact that we have static fee is a constraint for the network.
Absolutely. However, let me question you this. I really want to put you on the record, Null. I want you to guess, stab in the dark. When do we get Hydra? Is it a year out? Is it a month out? Or is it a decade out? You tell me. I've just asked the impossible.
It's a bit of a trick question, because Hydra is not going to be one lump sum, thump. Here you go, everything's done.
Oh, you mean like Plutus wasn't one lump sum with its smart contracts?
Yeah.
Who'd have thought?
So it begs the question of like, what exactly is meant by when will they have Hydra? Because if you asked when will they have smart contracts, if somebody had bet on, mid-September, they would have been technically correct. But if you mean something different when you say smart contracts,
how
they might have been wrong.
When it will be truly beneficial, whatever truly means in that sentence to you.
So we're just going to keep it totally subjective.
Yeah, totally. I don't want any kind of like actual metrics.
All right. I'll try to do my own spin on that. So like, when do I think Hydra or Hydra-like functionality will be available to help offload the burdens on the mainnet in a non-trivial way?
Yes, non-trivial. I like that.
Yeah. Well, I do like to be fairly particular or specific in my constraints.
To be an engineer. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. Well, a little bit of an ASP engineer. So there's an extra emphasis on the on the tardiness and then anal aspects. Anyway, I digress. I would say my bear case for that would be we were going to see it in 2 years. My base case for it, I would say we're going to see Hydra or some non-trivial impact for Hydra in probably June or July 2022.
Wow.
My bull case, I would say we're going to see something like Hydra in maybe March, April.
Okay, I think your bull case is drunk. That is one drunk goddamn bull.
It's a bull.
But you know what? Your bear case I can get behind. 2 years? Yeah, I'd say that's reasonable. I'd say that's more than reasonable even. That's perfectly reasonable.
Now
2023.
You can always wind back and look at my definition of it. It's not like when Hydra would be done. It's just when would a Hydra-like functionality give us a non-trivial impact for the network?
I agree. Yeah, absolutely. I think that is one of the best definitions that you could have given. And you know what? I'd bet somewhere in 2023. I have no idea. None whatsoever. I was just being mean and putting you on the spot to have a guess at something you have no idea of.
I'm fine with that. But you have to remember, Hydra is not something that, they dropped Alonso September 12th and then they go, all right, let's go work on Hydra. There's already been dedicated team working on Hydra for
supposedly so. This is another point I want to pick on today.
Yeah?
Yeah, not Hydra, Daedalus. Supposedly they've got their own goddamn fucking team. Where the fuck are they? Where have they been for the last god knows how long? I've just started looking at CC Vault. And CC Vault has so much goddamn functionality that Daedalus should have. Where the fuck is the Daedalus team? What the fuck are they doing? Apparently they're just starting to get implemented the ability to interact with the smart contracts and all the other stuff that Daedalus is supposed to be able to interact with. Why the fuck, if there is a dedicated Daedalus team, did they not launch with either the PAB, which has yet to launch, so maybe they will, or the original Plutus launch? Why didn't they launch the ability to interact with these smart contracts then? If they've got a dedicated team, the fuck have they been doing for the last 24 plus months? Because I genuinely don't know.
We saw that at the summit. Also, it's not entirely clear to me if the members of the Daedalus team are also on other teams.
I reckon they have to be, because goddamn if they're a team of their own.
Well, we saw at the summit that what we know that they have been used for and are probably working on still because it's not out is the new, was it a light wallet or a web extension wallet that is being designed that clearly has all of this functionality, NFTs, smart contracts.
Clearly.
Well, by what they showed at the summit, is like it's clearly being built with the intent of having all of these things that are nowhere to be found on Daedalus. I mean, even the fact that when I'm on Daedalus and I go look in my tokens and I try to find, somebody bought some weird thing on CNFT that I put for sale, and I'm all right, I have to go find it, and I go, where the fuck is it? Because the only thing that I see is the asset hash name, which I cannot find on any of the platforms where.
Of course you can't. It's just invisible.
Accessing.
It's a nightmare. Daedalus is an absolute nightmare, and it should be the premier wallet in my opinion. It's sponsored by IOG. It is an actual full node, thus it's beneficial for people to be running the Daedalus, even though it's much easier to go and run Yoroi or probably the new light smart wallet. I don't get it. The Daedalus team clearly doesn't exist. They're clearly on other projects, because the latest things that Daedalus has done is D=0, they had some nice fireworks, and then like Plutus's launch, they had some new fireworks. That was it. Oh no, honest to God, that's the whole of Daedalus. How the fuck does that work as your premier wallet that actually runs a full node? Like, someone has put in a lot of goddamn time, and I know Charles has said himself. He said, "I wish we'd have released a Yoroi-like wallet, a light wallet, rather than a full node wallet first." That's what he said in one of his many AMAs that I recall vividly. He said that he wished that he thinks that to have improved adoption, they would have gone with the light wallet first. And yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it requires centralized trust and so on and so forth, but
I think that's what they're doing now. I mean, we've seen that they are focusing.
That's what they're focusing on. Yeah, this new light wallet. But why are they building a new wallet? Why not Yoroi? Why not just extend Yoroi? Does anyone know the answer to that question?
That's actually a really good question. I need to think about that, but first I need to evacuate some of this whiskey. I'm going to be right back. I recommend that you do a little monologue on your most abhorrent conspiracy theories on Cardano.
Conspiracy theories. Well, I don't think Muesli Swap's anything to worry about, because if their biggest original detractor is Cardano Whale, and then he later on said that, actually it works, it's got a crap UI, then okay, fair enough to Muesli Swap. But harking back to a long time ago, we were talking about monitoring of stake pool operators. As a stake pool operator, I care far too much about this, but what I was thinking is that we need proper TCP monitoring for every public relay out there. And the way that I would do that is to simply, if you go and check GitHub/Alexander Norris. You'll find my Cardano Pi repository. That will build sockets to connect out to Cardano relays. And I would suggest that someone builds and monitors TCP connectivity to see how often people are dropping off of the network. Someone needs to go do this to try and figure out what the hell is going on with relays. Which Cardano pools are actually a disaster, because there are gonna be Cardano pools out there that are a disaster. And basically I want to know, someone's got to monitor this, and I have chosen not to because I don't want to fall into a hated band of stake pool operators, but it's something that I'm considering doing. So Noel, welcome back. I am considering monitoring TCP connections, open TCP connections to Cardano relays. Open Cardano relays. I want to...
AdaTools.io put out a tweet on this the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
Go on.
But they said they made it as a poll, I believe. But they wrote some things like, well, as we know that classically port 22 is always the one that's defaultly used for SSH connections. And then they made a poll asking, how many percentage of pools do you think have this vulnerability open today?
I like this. Go AdaPools.
And then gave some options. It's AdaTools.io, I think. I think it's separate from AdaPools.
AdaTools.
I think it's AdaTools.io. Might be misremembering it. But I went to the website and I'd never seen that before. And we're like, oh, this is a really nice website. So they show, when you're looking in on a pool, they show if they can tell what ports are being used and are they closed and protected or not.
That's cool. I like that. I've been waiting for someone to release that. Basically, I was too scared to build that website myself. Because after I searched Digi and found that they've got webmin open on port 10,000 to the public, I was like, wow, people with like 8 pools are total shit operators. Holy fuck. That blows my mind. So... yeah, I don't know. But someone needs to monitor actual open TCP connections, because it's all well and good just opening a quick TCP connection, then dropping it very swiftly. But it doesn't tell you if a pool is regularly, just like every 5 minutes, their node is spinning up, eventually building enough, requesting enough RAM from the system, and then just dying. So someone needs to actually monitor like the TCP connections that are just long-term TCP connections rather than simple socket open and close. Like, oh yeah, I can hello against them. AdaPools is an exact example. So I was speaking with Andrew Westberg, the stake pool operator of Blue Cheese Steakhouse. Thank God I remembered it. Stake pools. And he is a very smart dude. I might have a man crush on Andrew. He is the builder of CNCLI, so we all use his code to go and figure out when our next allocated slots are. This is a smart individual. And Andrew said to me that, he told AdaPools in the past, they need to use an actual handshake protocol request to these ports instead of just checking, is your TCP port available? Maybe their TCP ports are available to these pools, but they might not actually be running the service that operates a Cardano node, and thus they might be down more often than they're up, and AdaPools isn't properly checking that. They're not performing a handshake.
What you're meaning is that they can't be showing as they're up, but if they are dysfunctional for various different reasons, whether that's because they're out of resources, if they're constantly doing reboots, or for any other reasons, it can show us if it's open, but
it might simply have no service there to actually do anything with it. It's like, I'm trying to send you my transaction, but you're dead, so you kind of look like you're alive, but you're actually dead. So you're going to do nothing when I tell you that I've got a transaction. Nightmare. But yeah,
have you spun up more relays yourself? Oh, sorry, I'm digressing here.
No, fair question. We have not spun up anymore because we've actually got a substantial number of private relays, and our current relays are running on dedicated hardware. They've got a lot of inbound connections, probably due to the fact that I put my face out there. I preach what I believe in. And so we actually use a substantial amount, more than 12 gigabytes of RAM per relay, just due to the sheer number of inbound connections. And yeah, we're comfortable. So we haven't spun up any extra private relays because I struggle with private relays. We have to organize connections to those, and that's just a bit of a nightmare, to be honest.
Being a belts and suspenders kind of copycat that I am, as soon as like Alonso was coming out, I made sure to get extra private relay spun up. So I have in Europe, US, and Japan. Because that's where the most network activity is.
No,
so
absolutely. Sure but how are you doing for inbound connections? Because that's what you need to propagate your blocks. Like, you've got to communicate that to other stake pool operators that you trust, that aren't going to go and tell other people, oh, this is the IPs that this guy's using, go fucking kill him. Because I've proven it's easy to kill a Cardano stake pool. You just need HPing 3 and you just blat the shit out of someone and they're offline. If you've got a bigger pipe than them,
I'll tell you a bit more of that. A bit more privately, but I have a layer put in place that helps me against an effective DDoS, which is basically like what this would be on the Cardano network. Because right as you are, the way too many that are very, very, very vulnerable if there are any bad actors on this network. And even if there isn't today, there will be.
Oh, absolutely. It's a $60 billion, well, it was last I checked. It's probably like $30 billion these days. But it's a $30 billion network, let's just guess. And thus, if you want to short $30 billion worth of network and you kill it dead, you've made $30 billion. There is a lot of incentive to go and kill Cardano, if you can. And I've already proved it's actually quite freaking simple. And to an individual like myself, okay, so $60 billion to me personally is a lot. Like, I'm not Elon Musk, but I've got certain access to certain ISPs, many of them, with certain different transits, and I could probably take out a grand total. I actually did this sum when I was testing for my YouTube videos. I could take out half the network without blinking. Yes, eventually, the various people that I work for and with would be upset with me. But I could take out half the network given the bandwidth that I've got access to. And that was with a very conservative estimate that everyone's got about a gig's worth of access. Now, I know a lot of people operate their nodes from home. So, yeah, it's terrifying, really, how cheap it is to knock out a $30 billion network. And so, yeah, I think that people should be concerned about the quality of their stake pool operators.
Let's reiterate the call to action on this thing. So this is basically the argument for two things. Number one is really test your stake pool operator wherever you're staking. We'd love your support both in NASEC and NANI, but that's not the point here. Just talk to them and like really make sure, do you really trust their technical ability in this thing, or is it just convenient for you to stake to your favorite YouTuber or whoever you are?
Absolutely. It couldn't be more important because it's block production. It is the fundamental underlying thing for the whole network. Sorry, Nani, go on.
Yeah. No, and then the second thing here is that this is why decentralization is so important, because every new node that's running a non-trivial amount of validation on the network makes it logarithmically more expensive and difficult for an attacker.
That's it.
To harm this thing. So even if your security is atrocious, if there are a lot of insecure nodes in it, it is still expensive and difficult. If they start having an actual decent level of security, then it starts becoming exponentially more complicated and expensive to make an attack on the network.
Absolutely.
But I'm a little. I mean, we're two peas in a pod here when it comes to many kind of things, especially when conservative estimates and pessimism. I think we're blood brothers on that front. I do think that we're not really going to see any significant efforts in this thing without blood. So someone's
gonna take it.
Someone's gonna have to bleed for any significant changes to be made in this.
And whether or not
that is, whether that's the whole network, whether that is one particular pool, people losing out on
I think it's got to be a
rewards,
famous pool as well. There's no point just taking out an NASEC, because the truth is that, you know, we've got 7 million ADA, 7.5, nearly 8 million ADA pledged to us, or delegated, sorry, to us. And the truth is that that is menial. It's got to be someone public, and it's got to be a meaningful takedown. Like, if all of insert most Cardano famous YouTuber here, if all of their pools for 4 epochs maybe, were taken out and simply didn't produce a single block, game over for that YouTuber. They're actually going to start noticing.
You say that, but I mean, how much stake is still left in BitBoys?
Don't break my heart. Fuck you. No. Fuck you. Go to hell. Fuck all this topic. I'm fed up with this topic. Let's talk about Hosky. Have you heard of Hosky? Hosky?
Yeah. I'm a Husky millionaire myself.
Are you actually? Goddamn fuck. You'll be rich one of these days. Please buy me a car or something. I don't know. A house.
I just love that meme.
Okay, so I genuinely I think of myself, you know what? I saw the recent talk that BitBoy had with some other idiot, and BitBoy was like, you know what? It doesn't matter that Dogecoin and Shiba Inu coin are total fucking bullshit. People got rich off of that, and that matters because that changed their lives. And I agree with that sentiment, and I agree with BitBoy for it. I don't like BitBoy as a concept, but fuck me, I watched that one clip and I was like, you know what, BitBoy seems like a legitimate dude. I get him, and he's a real person who actually understands these things. So yeah, rock on BitBoy. But I don't know. I think of myself as too good to know what Hosky is. So please explain to me, a clueless individual. Genuinely, I've seen their Twitter profile and that's it. What is Hosky?
I haven't really read deeply into anything of this thing, but like my understanding from what I've seen and everything is that it's a self-proclaimed stable coin that is pegged at $0 value. And they're very firm.
Genius! Fuck me! I could do that! Wow!
And I love the meme and the value of it all, because in you could say in spite or because of their popularity, everything that they're putting out is like, guys, stop buying these things. These are still worthless. There's nothing going to be made from this. There's no plan, no roadmap or anything. And every time that they do that, more people
shit. So it's honest Dogecoin and Shiba Inu, Hosky coin.
Yeah. Well, Doge was like that in the beginning as well, if I remember. It was made
decades. I have no idea how long ago, but I nearly bought Doge just because I loved the attitude on Reddit of like, here, have 100,000 Dogecoin. It doesn't fucking matter. It's stupid as shit, and we love it. And it's gonna be we're all gonna be billionaires because it was just stupid shit, and I loved that about Dogecoin.
They have that here as well. The really funny thing is that, and so I didn't, and buying hot, like I spent 2 ADA on sending to their vending machine protocol thing
Right.
here, and it sent me back some dozen million, I think, Husky tokens.
That is a good transaction. 2 for a
Yeah.
million. Of course that makes
No, no, no,
sense.
no, 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 no. I think I got 57 or something like that. So 57 million for like 2 ADA. You get like a random amount with it. But like to me, it's like, oh yeah, no, this is fun. I really like the meme around this. This is literally zero expectation that like this is really gonna be worth anything. But it's fun to participate in. And then of course the asynchronous upside of, well, if it does, then it doesn't need to be worth a lot for that to be in profit at least. And so what really got me was that I was participating in the Pavia Season 2 minting here the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Pavia is this digital real estate, kind of like Sand, Decentraland, but on Cardano.
Okay.
And I managed to actually get a mint of my order because they sold out in like 18 minutes. Like this, so
Jesus.
it was like insane. It's just poof. Like you could see like, oh, the clock struck 3 p.m. UTC, and the handler just said, no. We're not doing.
No, it's over. Nah.
Yeah, we're
Go
not,
somewhere
we're not
else.
doing anything. Yeah, so like my transactions were literally. This is the first time I've ever seen a pending transaction turn red in database.
I've never even heard of that. I think I would have shit the bed.
Me neither. I was like, looking, oh, it's pending. Like, oh yeah, it'll take a while. And then took a couple minutes, and I look back, it's like, oh, it's still pending. And a few more minutes, and I'm looking back, oh, it's red now, but it's still pending. Okay, all right, I'll see what happens. I wasn't really scared because I know that it's Cardano. I'm not gonna lose anything here. But no, the network got swarmed, so it was pretty much just down to dumb luck now of whose transactions would be validated first so that you got to go in and buy this plan. I digress though. The point is, as you've seen with any successful NFT project mint, you do the mints, they sell out, and then you really start seeing secondhand markets like having at it. And I was seeing, I didn't really follow through and like verify, but to the best of my judgment, I was seeing people trading their newly minted plotted land for Husky tokens. So they were going,
Christ.
Yes, give me that 500 million Husky token, like whatever. Here you go, here's a plot of Pavia land. I think the floor price today is like 200 something ADA. So
That
the fact
is
that
fucking nuts, isn't it?
Someone wanting to make that trade, it's not really tracked on the DEX right now or anything, but it means that it actually does have market value. The meme is alive.
So I'd like to. Daniel A has been one of our few viewers for this session, and he has said that he likes that Hosky token is testing the network. He couldn't be more right. The reason that we were talking about 70% of blocks being more than 50% full is simply because Hosky token is going fucking nuts. And it's meaningless. It's valued at $0, and that's genius. Whoever came up with that marketing ploy, hats off to you. Well done. But holy shit, that has tested the network, and it is starting to show up these stake pool operators whose relays potentially are suffering, potentially they're not able to process fast enough, potentially they don't have access to fast enough RAM or proper RAM or storage. Potentially they've got network storage, which has got lots of IO related delays. There is a lot of interesting stuff happening because of some stupid goddamn meme coin, and I love it. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah. It's our own little crypto kitties moment, except we didn't crash.
That's it. We didn't crash. We certainly filled up, and there's certainly a few more missed blocks. Chain density has dropped, but we're still carrying on. All those transactions got processed. It's fine. We're fine. But, all of the SPOs who... It's kind of a limitation of Cardano's proof of stake, in that we don't know who's missed a block. Yeah, there's the odd person who can say that, I was predicted to make this many blocks on Pool Tool. But the truth is, you don't know who has missed a block. And you don't know who's running on shitty hardware on Contabo easily. Who,
we need better tracking of performance metrics.
No, you can't do that. No, you cannot do that because you cannot prove that this person was meant to mint a block at this time unless you are that person. And I am damn well not going to tell you, because no one else is going to damn well tell you, that the honest truth is that they were supposed to mint 20 blocks that they failed to mint. And the truth is that so many goddamn SPOs just care for making money, and they do not care about the ecosystem. They are here to milk you dry.
Suppose you can do the next best thing, because exceptions happen in the small samples, but patterns are predictable in the large. If you look at a given pool with certain saturation over a matter of 30, 50, 60 epochs.
Do you know how long that is? That is a lot of time.
I know, but what's the alternative?
There is none. This is my point.
Exactly.
I take the opinion that it's impossible. I take the opinion that but what you're saying makes perfect sense. You make perfect sense, but you cannot say 30, 50 epochs when so few SPOs have actually made it through 30, 50 epochs. That's the truth.
Yeah, true. But at least hopefully you'd be able to see a shifting of the guard then. I mean, if you're able to run a raggedy tag state pool that would show to have stellar metrics, and then we finally get some better transparency showing that some multiple operations are actually technically derelict and really fucking atrocious, then maybe people are going to care about wanting to get more rewards out of it, because ultimately if you're running with an ineffective pool, you're leaving free money on the table.
I don't believe that will be the case. And the reason I don't believe that will be the case is because the percentage of the amount of rewards that are left on the table equates to so little ADA for most people that it almost doesn't matter. So long as your pool is producing 90% of the blocks, it almost doesn't matter that they're missing 10%, and you're just like, oh well, how was I to know? And most people also don't give a shit because it's not worth their time to figure out if they're missing 10% or 50% of their blocks. So long as they're getting some rewards, they don't give a shit. There is a serious issue between delegators and stake pool operators. Stake pool operators who are running multiple pools are fucking making fortunes. Whereas stake pool operators who are running single pools are being told, oh, well, you're just jealous that you don't have so much ADA that wanting to be delegated to you that you'd actually make a lot of money. It's like, no. I actually give a shit for decentralization. I actually give a shit. And these people just don't get it. They're just like, no, you're jealous. It's fine. It's all cool. You just don't get it. And god damn, it pisses me off. Honest to God. I cannot believe it, that the amount of people who value capitalism over actual decentralization breaks my heart. And
I do, but I'm not stupid.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's why you're a stake pool operator, though.
What I mean is, you value I value capitalism above that, but I understand why that means the decentralization has to be higher, because the more you centralize it, the more you devalue the security of the network,
exactly,
which devalue the actual worth and value of the network.
These people are so short-sighted. They're actually only seeing the concept of, oh, but I'll get 2 more ADA if I go and delegate with this person, because they've got so much higher actual total delegation. You know, delegating to a small pool, although it would mean that I get 2 less ADA, I actually decentralize the network, which means that the total value of my ADA is maintained, is meaningless to them. It's totally meaningless. And IOG has failed for the last year nearly to increase K, as they've said they would for the last God knows how long, to double what it currently is. I cannot deal. It really pisses me off. I'm ranting now, and I blame IOG for their delayed promises. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't really understand why they haven't increased that yet either.
I mean, take someone like yourself, and I hope that you take no offense to this, but your pool was blessed with the increased delegation from the Cardano Foundation. 16 million ADA. That's a fuck ton of ADA.
No, it wasn't that much. It was only 14 and a half.
Oh, well, excuse me. As a pool that's never achieved 14.5 million ADA total. No, I couldn't be more thrilled for you. But think of how fantastic that would have been for you had K equal 1,000 and you were 50% saturated. So you were within spitting distance of the best kind of returns that any delegator could have achieved. Instead, you were a quarter, which meant that there were people who were proportionately better, and therefore people were like, oh, well, maybe I won't delegate there. You know, it made a difference, and I can't believe that IOG has just delayed so much. It just breaks my heart totally, and I hope that things change. The rewards formula is supposed to change in the near future. Don't know how to feel about that yet, because I don't know what it will be. And IOG aren't sharing it with people. They're not discussing what they're considering. And as a stake pool operator, that drives me nuts and also makes me wonder what the future will be. I've said that in the past. You know, I had the choice. I could have taken a very different mortgage on my house had I just said, I've profited, end of Cardano for me. You guys get on with it yourselves. But no, I choose to still spend my time here. I choose to still spend my time studying, learning. I'm building the goddamn Cardano node Shelley network protocol in a language that it's never been built in before. Which I've recently made some progress on. But goddamn, I just don't get it. IOG seems to not care about us small SPOs, and yet there are a lot of SPOs that are multi-poolers, splitting their pool, splitting their pledge, and just taking as much money as they can from the ecosystem. It's driving me nuts, honestly, lately. With the notion that everything's going to change with the rewards formula at the moment, I don't know how delegators will feel. How are you feeling, Null?
I do also put a large portion of this blame on IOG for their silence and inaction in making these parameter changes. I think that I would like to say K at 1,000, but if I had one wish, it would be that they would resolve the ranking system.
Within Daedalus, or Daedalus and Uroi, or
well,
in general?
If I can only choose one, I would say Daedalus, but in general, if they just come out and say, hey, here is how we think the best way to rank a wallet is, show that, and it being a non-idiotic way, the way that Daedalus is right now, and like the ranking systems that I'm seeing in the most common wallets, fucking idiotic. I think that would be my number one thing, because if you have to put yourself in the shoes of your John Smith and James Smith user, where even if they know that multi-pooling is bad, they are, first and foremost, I think that they are interested in earning rewards in a safe way where they don't have to worry about anything. And from that optic, a multi-pool is going to be it's the most attractive option on multiple different counts of high saturation, of feeling secure that this is not going to be retired anytime soon. It's mostly something that's tied together with a huge personality or something else that gives you the faith that, hey, this person is sticking around. I know who this person is, because trusting who you're buying from is always critical, whether people realizing or not. You don't buy something from someone that you don't trust to some extent. And so just fixing the ranking system would go a long way, I think, to help John and Jane Smith, or Alice or Bob, since we are in crypto, to feel comfortable actually making that delegation to this NASEC, to this NANI, to this, like, whatever the thing is. Personally, I think that, well, I am overly pessimistic and a tiny bit tipsy, but I tend to think that, well, this ship has sailed. Now it's just a matter of like how it's going to be redistributed amongst the winners of the network as it already is today. The reason that I'm still running a stake pool is because of the way that Cardano is built. People tend to forget that Cardano is not built to be the daddy on the network. Cardano is built with first-class citizenry in mind for all the native asset tokens. We already seen that with the native asset tokens, how they are, but that extends to the governance models, to everything that's going on it, which means that I'm predicting, at least hoping, without knowing the details of it, there are going to be asset tokens that needs to do native asset validation on this network. But if the network is congested and fully busy itself dealing with all the ADA tokens and everything else, who are they going to get to do the validation? Because your normal quote unquote validators of the fully saturated ADA pools won't have any spare time to process any of these things. And so that's why I'm still around, because I think that there's going to become a demand for stake pool validators to be helping running block validation on other things than ADA. And I think showing that you have a pool that's been running great with no issues at all, not missing a single block, high uptime, is going to make you an attractive pool to servicing whatever those things are going to be. And I don't know what they are. I just don't see how they cannot be coming out over the next few years.
No, couldn't agree with you more. Something I just wanted to throw out there, because I'm such a I'm a pessimist. I don't believe in anyone. I don't believe fucking anyone. So I'd like to throw out that if anyone wants to understand that a Cardano native token is just as legitimate as ADA, they should go and spin up their own node, and they should perform a ledger dump. As soon as you see a ledger dump, it's a massive great fucking JSON. Fuck off great JSON. But when you see that JSON, you will notice that a native token, you search for its ID, you will find it alongside any other native tokens, ADA itself. You will find it on the blockchain. It's not some pseudo second layer bullshit majiggery. It is actually right there alongside ADA, stored in the blockchain in a ledger dump. And that is what a lot of people, 99.99999% of people, are not doing. I myself was not as familiar with ledger dumps until I spent some time with some other clever SPOs who, honestly, they've now left the ecosystem. They weren't able to attract attention. Their marketing wasn't good. They were brilliant technical people. They understood ledger dumps. They're better than me. They figured out that where the tokens were stored and how to search for them and so on and so forth. But the truth is that technical people don't succeed as stake pool operators. Marketing people do. And the truth is that, yes, we do not have second citizens in Cardano. A secondary token whether it is Hosky or some other bullshit, is available still there on the blockchain. If you just perform a ledger dump, you'll see it. You'll physically see it. That is key. And to people, technical people like me who really want to believe like I'm not buying some bullshit, that's what matters. I'm a stickler. I'm such a pessimist, and I'm so unbelieving in NFTs or FTs or just about anything unless I see it for myself.
Trust but verify. Exactly. It's always the best approach.
Exactly. Well, it's more like verify and then trust. But yes.
And then still not really trust.
Yeah, exactly. And then still be like, maybe I didn't know what I was doing.
No, but yeah, that's why I'm still like running a pool.
Exactly.
I'm earning on average. I'll be set to earn slightly less than if I were to just delegate to like a near fully saturated.
Oh, heavens forbid! And yet you participate. You know that you're truly decentralizing in some way block production. In some
and I'm not being virtuous. It's a matter of number one. This helps increase the value of the network as a whole. That's what gives my ADA value. And number two, capitalistic greed here is that I see that there's going to be an opportunity to run validation for native asset tokens when we see large-scale operation that comes out, and other stake pools are not going to be able to handle this because they're going to be busy handling all of the other shit that happens on the
Exactly.
network.
And you know what? Your attitude of capitalism, etc., it makes perfect sense. Because at the end of the day, all of these SPOs who are trying to mint blocks constantly, etc., they're going to be too preoccupied. They're going to be too busy with all of these random projects out there. There's going to be so many of them eventually that someone's not going to be able to take them. And at the end of the day, if you start leaving just the K equals 1,000, you have 1,000 pools. Well, if it's K equals 1,000, there are 1,000 pools. I'm putting my goddamn fee to 100% because I'm guaranteed to make a fucking fortune. You know, it doesn't make sense. We need capitalism. We need competitiveness. And we need people who are driven and who understand the ecosystem. So it makes perfect sense what you're doing, Null, and I would put myself in the same situation as yourself. I'm here for when the ecosystem takes off and they start saying, shit, maybe we need a few more people here. And you're seeing this with other SPOs. They're being accumulated. I forget his name. One of the other SPOs recently posted, we're now a part of some giant great DEX that's going to launch in the future. And we're the head of state pool operations for that DEX. And we're going to launch.
Oh, the Norwegian thing.
Thank you very much, Noel. Yes, exactly that. And who knows? But the future is bright. The future is Cardano, not orange. And no, I have so much belief in this network. It's just that we need to call out the bullshit for what it is. We need to understand what these projects are doing. And I think that with the PAB coming up, it's nearing release, I hope. I think that now couldn't be a better time for Cardano to be cheap, relatively speaking.
I am buying. This is a fantastic Black Friday sale.
Too right. Honestly, I'm with you, and I've spent a lot of money on some other stupid household shit because, as many people who watch my YouTube channel are aware, I recently bought a house and I still kept more than 50,000 ADA for myself. Let me be clear. So I didn't choose, let's just have a really cheap mortgage. I chose, let's believe in an ecosystem. Let's believe in the future. And I truly believe that future to be Cardano.
I think that's a great place to end. Thanks for listening in, guys. Or at least Daniel.
Yes. Thanks, Daniel. You rock. And yes, we love you. And thanks to everyone.
Cheers, guys.
I will find a way to end the stream. Have a good evening. Cool. It's over.